Hey everybody, it's Eric from EPAutos.com, your libertarian car guy, coming at you from the 2020 Ford Edge, which I'll have more up about on the website, EPAutos.com, hopefully later today. But I wanted to talk about the thing that everybody's talking about because you can't get away from it. The cases are up. The cases are up. And they're doing this to inflate the fear balloon, I think, preparatory to another lockdown, or to keep up the pretext for the diapering, which is now the new big thing. They're trying to force everybody in the country to wear a diaper, which is deranged as well as dangerous. Deranged because if you're not sick, there's no point to wearing a diaper, and dangerous because if you can force people who aren't sick to go through pantomime like that by forcing them to wear a diaper, which is a humiliating thing if you think about it, it implies that you're a carrier of some kind of horrific plague. You can do that to people without any justification other than, oh, somebody might be sick, it's possible, you know, when in fact it actually isn't, because if you're not sick and you don't have symptoms, you can't transmit anything. But those facts are irrelevant. What's happening now is that people's fear is being used to justify the diapering. Fear being magnified again, ratcheted up again because of the cases. That's the new body count. And the reason they have to do that, of course, is because the body count isn't all that impressive. The bodies never did stack up like cordwood, and they're certainly not stacking up like cordwood right now. They're talking about cases. How many cases of dandruff are there? How many cases of the blues are there? How many cases of headache, menopause? Think about anything you like and call it a case. When it's not put into context, and people aren't told that, in fact, as the number of cases goes up, the mortality rate, which is already very low, extremely low in fact, it's less than 1%, less than 0.5% actually, if you're not elderly, if you're not already very sick with another problem, it actually is getting even lower because the number of quote-unquote cases does not translate into more people dying. So you think about how math works. More people, more cases divided by fewer deaths equals a lower mortality rate. But the vile, despicable, dishonest media is not telling people that, of course. And certainly the politicians aren't telling people like that, of course, because if they did tell them, this whole business would disappear at a stroke. The fear would dissipate. The diapering would become absurd and ridiculous. Now, it's understandable why these left-wing governors, and it's understandable why the left-wing media is promoting all of these lies and trying to keep everybody terrified, because they're using this, as they always use things like this, to increase their power. And at this moment in time, they think it's going to help them get rid of the Orange Man. Now, as far as that goes, I have trouble understanding why the Orange Man hasn't gotten on TV or tweeted and made note of the things that I've just told you about, which aren't contestable. They're facts. They're not opinions. Simple, incontestable facts. That, yeah, there's more cases. And so what? Say the words. So what? More cases does not mean more death. In fact, more cases means fewer death. So, in fact, everybody should be breathing easier, and these restrictions should be lifted in their entirety. And certainly this diapering business should be done away with. And people who have been PTSD'd by all of this given therapy so that they don't continue to act like neurotics, terrified that death is in the air everywhere. Now, I really don't understand why the Orange Man hasn't done that, because it strikes me as both the right thing to do and the politically right thing to do. It's the right thing to do for all the obvious reasons, to dissipate this horrendous fear that's gripping this country and this totalitarianism in the name of neuroses that has been imposed on the nation. And politically, he needs to do this in order to, first of all, reinvigorate his base, secondly, reinvigorate the economy, and just call BS on the whole thing, and then turn it around and hold accountable these leftists, and it's almost all leftists, who have been pushing the most extreme measures, the mandatory diapering, the locking down, all of it. and put them on the backs of their heels on the defensive for once. The fact that he hasn't done this is quite concerning to me. In fact, it is the single most concerning thing that the Orange Man has not done, I should say, so far in his tenure. And if he doesn't do something aggressive about this soon, I figure, well, let the sleepy Joe Biden win, or whoever, because it really doesn't matter. If he's not going to defend us, then it's going to be up to us to defend ourselves. So we'll see what happens over the next few days. Thought it was worth talking about. Love to get your reaction to it. Please visit the site, epautos.com. Post a reply, and let's get that conversation going. And thanks as always for listening and supporting the site, and we'll catch up with you again soon.